close to 8 o'clock. This is my very first Facebook Live video. I've done lots of videos. This is Fudge, my Cocker Spaniel, who will no doubt be interfering and talking to us all the way through doing this live video. Hi everybody, my name is Phil Sharrock. I'm a former primary school head teacher, and I've also been the head of a PRU. I've been the head of 4 schools all around the country, in Dudley, Oldham, Dewsbury, and back down here in Walsall. I'm based in Wolverhampton, where I am now. This talk is all about inadequate to good in 15 months, basing it around staff wellbeing. If you want to know the impact that it can make, we apart from the Ofsted grading, we went from the bottom 3% of schools in the country for standards to the 50th percentile for standard, and we went from the bottom 20% of schools in the country in terms of progress to the top 15% of schools for progress, and we did it in less than 2 years. And it starts with leaders and teachers recognising who they are within the system of education. The important thing for a head teacher to recognise is that he or she needs to know that they are the second most important adults in the building. Okay, the teachers are far more important than you. They do the job, you don't. They have people they have people to support them and help them do the job that we are all asked to do, which is teach, and that is what is really, really important. Okay, nothing else matters. And if you're a head teacher, you've got to have the common sense, and I'm an accountant's son, so common sense said to me that if somebody was going to take 70 to 75% of my budget, then I should look after them, and why on earth wouldn't I make them the happiest people in the entire world? Now, I'm also a great believer in the work of W. Edwards Deming, who said that it's all about systems. He was the guy who went out to Japan and created things called Kaizen and total quality management, and he said that 4 out of 5 times when things go wrong, it's the system that's at fault. Well, we all know what our systems are like within the education system. So if you want to make staff happy, you've got to fix the systems. You know, fix the systems for well-being and make sure that it's not tokenism. Make sure it's not a cake on a Friday. That is not well-being. It is putting it at the heart and of the culture and the ethos of everything that you do. All right. So for me, the practical things that I put into place to help this school go from inadequate to good, and others subsequently, are the practical systemic things that enable a teacher to teach. Not fill in forms, not do bureaucracy and paperwork and be in meetings and all the things like that. What can I do to help a teacher teach? That's my job. That is my role as a head teacher, to empower the teachers to teach. Okay, so let me talk you through some of the practical things that I actually did. PPA. Somebody much cleverer than me thought up years and years ago that you can do your planning, your preparation and your assessment in 10% of your time. Okay. I will willing to bet you that, well, I know that every school that I have ever gone into as a head teacher has turned around and all they have ever done is planning. And they will fill in form after form, statutory drawn up forms from the school that have got 94 boxes in, and you cut and paste pupil premium kids into there and all sorts of things like that. What an absolute load of waste of time, and what a complete nonsense. I wanted to make sure that in that PPA my staff could do their PPA, their planning, their preparation and their assessment. I also insisted that they did it wherever they wanted. If they wanted to go in the staff room, do it there. If they wanted to go home, do it there. You want to go to the pub, do it there. It didn't matter where you do it, as long as it gets done. One of the key things that I've always noticed in education is that teachers are obsessed with planning. I don't know why. I know it's got to be planned, but I do not understand why you seem to think that you've got to fill in 3,000 forms of literacy and 20 forms of numeracy to become a really good teacher. You don't. My best teachers did one side of handwritten literacy planning and probably about one side of handwritten maths planning, and it was all handed in retrospectively for the week that they'd just done. I never understood how anybody could have PPA on a Tuesday or a Wednesday and they could plan for the following week, because you've got no idea what the hell the kids are going to learn that week. So it was all, your planning was done as and when you walked through the week. When you came in on a Monday, you might have Monday and Tuesday planned. Okay, so it was always retrospective, and that's just common sense really to me, but you'd be amazed at the amount of schools that I've been in where they expect you to plan further on in the future. I've never understood why you're obsessed with it, probably because management make you do it. Well, there's no need to do it. There's no need to do it in any sort of complex and detailed way, because it's about delivery. What it matters is delivery, not what's on your piece of paper. Ofsted have never, ever asked to look at planning in the whole of my career, and I have never, ever known it not to be there. So just give me a second. Jackie's calling. Hi, I'm still here. So anyway, Jackie Wilson, the lovely lady from Positively Empowered Kids, is just saying she can't see me for some reason. Somebody can see me. It's working. So that's planning. Marking. If you're looking at 3 colours and different feedback, what an absolute load of nonsense. What an absolute load of nonsense. It's got to be instantaneous, it's got to be verbal, and it's got to be as quick. And if you're going to make a written comment, you do it once a week and you keep it as simple and straightforward as is humanly possible. So marking is dead simple. Planning is cut down to the minimum bones so that you can deliver, and you can deliver really, really well. I made sure that my schools were open and closed between certain hours, and they wouldn't open before 7, and they were shut at 6, and everybody was off the building at 6. And they didn't take work home with them. And I get very angry with staff if they did. If they couldn't do their job between 7 and 6, 7 in the morning and 6 at night, that's 11 hours a day, that's 55 hours a week. If you can't get your job done in that, there's a problem. All right? I wanted to make sure that my staff did their job when they were there, they were efficient and they were effective when they were there, and they didn't waste time, so that they could have their evenings to themselves and their weekends were theirs. A teacher is no good to you when they're shattered. A teacher is no good to you when they are overburdened with bureaucracy and filling in forms every night and doing marking every night until 9, 10 o'clock. It's a waste of time. You've got to look after them and make sure that they've got what they need. So PPA, you can do it wherever you like. Planning gets cut down to very, very simplistic paperwork. Marking is very, very simple. It's instantaneous and it's feedback as well. Restricted opening and closing times so that there's no messing about and people are not working all the hours God sends, because teachers are givers and they will do. The staff's families always came first for me. If I had a member of staff who was taking a child whose youngest child was starting in reception, then they would take their child to reception for the day. Okay, for that first day in school. So they had the opportunity to take their child to school on their very first day. It's a one in a lifetime thing, and their class can wait half an hour before they arrive in school. So keeping your staff and their families and the important things at the heart of what you do is really, really important as well. My staff room looked more like a Costa. It was full of sofas, it had an 80-inch screen on the wall, it had sofas all over the place, it had none of those chairs that sort of line up next to each other and in squares and all that sort of thing. How ridiculously formal is that? I wanted a place for staff to relax, I wanted somewhere where the children could not get to them, and I wanted somewhere where they could feel completely at ease and relaxed. So there were bar stools and there were bar tables, and there was free tea and coffee, so that everybody could, if they wanted to, they could relax in there and they could enjoy the peace and quiet of having a staff facility that was completely their own and secure and great and away from everybody else. The key thing is that they were empowered. They didn't have a fear of failure. They were absolutely on board by having a go at a fun curriculum. We built Anderson shelters, 30-foot Anderson shelters, and the kids were on the diggers digging the holes. We stripped down scrap cars. We built go-karts. We built bird tables. We went when we fitted it into our curriculum. If alligators and clowns were then we had wrestling matches going on in big blow-up wrestling rings in the middle of the hall. To empower staff to have no fear of failure, they've got to be willing to give it a go and get things wrong. But once they start doing that, and once they start trying to do things in a different way, because you want to make a difference, so you've got to be different. So once they've started to do things in a different way, and they recognise if something goes wrong, they're not going to get into trouble, all you're going to do is sit down and go, okay, how can we make it better next time? Once they've gone through that process once or twice, then they're absolutely flying. Then they absolutely start to fly. And they really, really start to feel empowered about what they are delivering for their children. Okay? They have to be encouraged to try to do new things. Because if you don't do new things, nothing will change. Nothing will improve. Nothing will get any better. So it's about having no fear of failure and having a go. And that is important. And the way that you can do that is by designing a fun curriculum. A curriculum that engages kids and it engages your staff. If your staff aren't having fun, how on earth are your kids going to have fun? So your kids have got to have fun. All right? Kids have fun. If kids are having fun, they will learn. And that only happens when you get your teachers having fun. So you've got to design a curriculum that's about having fun. This is primary school, for crying out loud. They're only little. It's got to be fun. I had to, as the head teacher, value all leadership from the bottom to the top. The worst types of schools are run from the top down. There's nothing worse. The best schools in the country are run from the bottom up, and everybody is inspirational the whole way up. The best people to have ideas about the quality of delivery of teaching in a school are the teachers and the TAs. It's not the head teacher. All right? It's the people in the classroom who know what they're doing with that, and they are the ones that should drive and improve pedagogy across the whole school. And the way to do it is to work openly in an honest and trustworthy fashion. Okay? If local authority were coming in and telling my reception area that it needed to be all beige and full of wicker, then I'd kick them out. The head teacher has to be brave enough to say, get out, that is not what my children need. And it is not what my staff need. This is what we are going to do, and we're going to stand on our own 2 feet and have our own integrity about it. Okay? One of the things that I put right at the heart of it was collaboration and continual CPD. If a member of staff had been in my school for a very long time, and I got colleagues within the local authority who had similar members of staff, they were just bored, they'd been there forever, they were so into the routine, they were part of the furniture, I'd send them to another school for a term and then they'd come back completely refreshed, full of new ideas, full of new things to bring into our school to improve things. Collaboration and working with other schools and your colleagues within the school were crucial to rapid school improvement. The head teacher walking in and doing observations and filling in a clipboard is a load of rubbish. It was never going to work, and it never improves any kind of pedagogy in any way. You improve by other teachers watching you and helping you and supporting you, not criticising you, not grading you, giving you tips and advice to how you can improve your teaching. I always said video yourself, because you can learn a load from if you actually video yourself. You have to create that atmosphere of it's okay to make a mistake. If you make a mistake, it's fine. If you go back to Deming and his ways that 4 out of 5 times it's the system at fault, the 5th time is the human being. Okay, we're human. To err is human. If you make a mistake, it's okay. 4 out of 5 times if things go wrong, it's the system. So you've got to get that system right. Okay. I would also, if I was a head teacher in a school today, I wouldn't be doing observations in any format, and your performance management will be driven by pedagogy, working collaboratively to improve teaching. It wouldn't be set on how many points of progress in maths and English. What a stupid way of holding teachers to account. That's absolutely bonkers. What I want to see is teachers get better and better and better at teaching. And if you do that, you end up with those results that we got. Massive amounts of progress in areas of incredibly high socioeconomic deprivation, and areas are with usually about 70 to 8% EAL. But it's no excuse. It's having the highest expectations not only of the children but of the staff. But you can't do that unless they're happy, and you can't do that unless they're empowered. So if you want a top tip of the week, Jackie's asked me to give a good top tip, and we're up to 13 minutes now. I've probably gone over. If you want the top tip, there's one. One I'd give to head teachers, and that is that all your staff get PPA. They get 10% of their time away from it. If I were you, I would also take 10% of your time and get off site and go and think. Go somewhere to think. Whether it's at home, whether it's in the park, whether it's in the pub, wherever you happen to want to do it, go and think. Go and strategically think about where your school is going. So your top tip for your head teachers is look after yourself. Because if you don't look after yourself, you're no good to anybody. And if you go in a bad mood, it affects the whole building. If you go in and you're struggling, it affects the whole building. So you have to look after yourself. So get out when you can and give yourself time to think. For staff, I would say, be brave, be different. Most teachers I know come into the job to make a difference. You don't make a difference by doing a scheme of work that has been written by Ros Wilson down in London. You get different by being different. You're doing what's right for your children, and what's right for children in one school isn't exactly the same in another. Much as they'd like to try and standardise it, it isn't. You've got to look at the kids. Look at schools like Crosthwaite up in Cumbria with Matt Jessup as the head teacher. Look at schools like Three Bridges down in London with Jeremy Hannay. These are great schools to go and have a look at. Well-being is so important. If you put it at the heart and the culture and ethos of everything that you do in your school, you can go from inadequate to good in 15 months. And it would have been 12 if Ofsted had got off their backside and come to us earlier. We were sitting there waiting for 6 months after that HMI kept checking on us. And you do it by putting the staff and the well-being of them first. I hope that's helpful. I have no idea how many people are watching, but that's it. I hope that was okay. I think, Jackie, you might be there if you are. Thank you very much. Hopefully speak to you all again soon. Thanks now. Cheers. Bye-bye.